Now, that might have been crude, a crude way to start this, but I always remind myself about who this person is, or what this person has done. Not is, what this person has done. And in about a little over a minute's time, I was able to, you know, replicate the 92 stab wounds that my friend put into a nun at the private school that he was training to be a monk at. So, started dating my wife like 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. 5, we're in 5. And when we first started dating, I was made aware of her friend, Mike. And Mike was locked away in a state penitentiary where he has been serving his sentence out. A sentence of, it's like 30 years. I may be incorrect in thinking he got a couple shaved off. But let's see. Yeah, because I think he's doing 25. It's amazing he got what he got, really, considering the crime. But Mike, he didn't hide from the truth. He came right out and confessed, and I started writing to him. Man, I mean, like right as soon as my wife told me, really, about him. That no one else wrote to him or anything besides her and her friend. So my friendship with Mike started, a good 5 years ago. And in that time, I had never once visited him. I'd share the phone with my wife when she was talking to him. So I've spoken to him, throughout the years. But never seen him. Never been in I've never been to jail before. All of my knowledge is from the movies and the TV shows. In that time, my wife and her friend put together an investigative podcast. I think it's about 12 episodes, 13, something like that, where they went to visit Mike's parents in Ukraine a few months before the war broke out. They had been pretty much with him, by his side, since the early 2000s, since the crime, really. And I just helped record some stuff for him. But this was their thing. And it's an incredible piece of work. And I highly recommend you listening to it. It'll go by fast. It's called Sacred Scandal. So I saw that my favorite um, songwriter, Chris Isaac, was coming to Florida, coming to Sarasota, and he just released a Christmas album with like originals on it, mostly originals actually, and a couple covers. And I have been made very aware of how fragile life is, and I was like, we never know when he might come back around and whatnot. So I was like, hey, wifey, wanna go get down with some Christmas songs with the guy who did the sexiness on the beach? And she was totally down because I made her fall in love with him because we met him, and the night before the morning, I asked my wife to marry me. So she actually got to meet him and hang out uh, and then take on the whole show. I had really good seats. Like I'm talking, like the lady who escorted us to where our seats were. She was like, "Oh, I don't know how I scored them, but they literally had a piece of tape where the center chair is, and that was us. So we literally had a private serenading concert with the man. And now he was going to be in Sarasota, and nobody had visited Mike in over a year. And maybe since the completion of the podcast. So he thought this would be a great idea a great time to go up and give him a visit. Finally see each other face to face. And I was all about it, for sure, you know. So we drove up to Sarasota. The concert was amazing. It wasn't. I was thinking he was just gonna play Christmas music, but Christmas music. I can't do a word play there. So Travis is trying to be funny on the serious podcast episode, and it's failing. Man, that derailed my thinking. Great concert. They didn't just play Christmas songs. They played the hits and some other deeper cuts, and it's just a phenomenal show. Old school as all hell. It's hysterical. Chris Isaac's a incredibly funny individual, and the rest of the band is game. And just had a tremendous evening. Had an interesting dinner at the hotel that we were at. Very interesting meals they assembled for us. Very unique. And I think we got the hotel because of points and such, because, we don't got that money, baby. Got that money. So the next morning we were off. No sticking around Sarasota. We cut out, went straight to Tallahassee. And not so much nervous, which is odd for me because I'm very anxious about, just driving over to Walgreens. So to be driving 5.5 miles to a state prison to meet a quote unquote violent offender. Why did I quote unquote that? That's what he is. He's a violent offender. It's pretty chill. When we got there, we were staying in. I mean, there must have been a hellmouth beneath this La Quinta. Because I thought my wife and I were going to get a divorce just because of the vibes. I mean, there wasn't a garbage can in the room, and you say, "Oh, yeah, garbage can. That's what threw you off, man." Don't have a garbage can in your hotel room. See how kind of like on shaky ground you become with reality. And right as soon as we were about to just relax, coming off the road and about to, just sink into that bed, it was a good bed. It was a damn good bed. The fucking curtains, I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, I took a step. I stepped out into the bathroom and just sort of stared at where the pole that holds the curtains goes into the wall right there. I just stood there and stared at that space, just, I don't know, disconnecting myself from everything. It's very sad. Well, my badass wife is like rigging up the dopest like curtain with some scrunchies and good old Chilean elbow grease. and and she got something up there, and it was great. And I had resigned myself to the sticky floor with a couple of their pillows because I was so, I don't know, things. Yeah, you try to keep your shit together for so long, and then the fucking something comes out. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stay on the floor. I don't know how I got back into bed. I didn't do it like sneaky like. I don't think. I think I just kind of like stayed on the bed and just kind of looked through my phone a little, and I'll just throw my leg back over here, and let me just grab that pillow from the floor before we get settled. So we were in agreement that there was no way we were going to be able to stay another night. I mean, the place itself, they said, was going to be packed, and it never became packed. And it was so odd. I was looking for some ice, and there were literally there were signs that said vending ice on one side and vending ice on the other, and they were pointing at each other. That's the kind of place we were in. I didn't want to ask anybody where the ice was because I didn't know what kind of fucking crime I was going to become a part of. Or, yeah, like either either they were going to do it to me, or I was just witness to it, and whatever the fuck. Creepy, creepy, creepy. It was a forensic file hotel, like totally. If you went there at that time of night, with those circumstances, it was ripe for looking for DNA with a fluorescent lamp as a extracurricular activity instead of partaking in their so-called breakfast. I think they were offering like dishwasher sponges or something for breakfast. I don't know what the look like it. I'll take anything with syrup on it. My God, these things. I don't know what the fuck they were. So, my dope wife got us another place because she's a little bit of a witch, and she's able to. Sometimes it finds the evils that are there, and then other times the heavenly goodness. And she found us a heavenly goodness in even closer to the capital, actually, or closer to the, it was past the capital, and closer to the state pen. I know it's state prison. I don't know if they call it state pen. Is there a difference? The state pen is like a pink pen that has a voting booth on it. I don't know. Jesus Christ, Travis, that's a state pen. So, pull up into the new hotel. Dope fucking place. It's Sunday. And because Mike is in PM, which means protective management, which is kind of like protective custody, they call it PM because of the nature of Mike's crime. killing a nun, there will be people in the prison that will come after him for that very fact, you know? Same with pedophiles and I don't know exactly what else constitutes PM, but well, we'll get to that. So we weren't, because he was in PM, they only had a certain block of time, and if anything was going on in the prison that prevented us from visiting him, then that was it, you know, then we wouldn't be able to visit him. Like if they had a shutdown, a lockdown, not a shutdown, a lockdown, and oh wow, I was gonna do a joke there. I don't know where to do jokes here. Don't know where to do jokes. Gotta tell you. Was gonna do a wife ass shutdown to shut the plane down, everything, because my wife had to wear very, very specific pants, more so in the line of like MC Hammer, because you're not supposed to wear stuff that are going to potentially rev these prisoners' motors in such a way. So, and she had difficulty the last time she was there. So she was anxious about it. I had a feeling everything was gonna be fine. It's weird, very, very odd. Very odd. I mean, the only thing that I was saying all day before we got on the road, it was about a half hour to go to reach the prison. I just kept saying this is crazy. It's crazy. How often do any of us get to do what I was about to do? You know? Entering into some really uncharted territory. Especially when it's stuff that you've seen, you know, on the true life stuff, you know, your documentaries and all that business and the TV shows and the fictional series, the non-fictional series. You've seen so much of this stuff. You've seen the inside of the prisons hundreds of times. So all I could say is just this is crazy. This is crazy. It's just crazy. And especially, you know, here I am taking my wife to a nice romantic concert, very PG, you know, kind of deal. We were the youngest folk there. So I take my wife to that, and she takes me to the state prison there with very, very, very dangerous people to hang out in for a few hours, right? Fucking bizarre. It's bizarre. I could only think of Mike and how nervous he must be for, you know, knowing he'd only have the 2 hours with us. We could always email and call and whatnot, but the face-to-face is you really see what it is to be face-to-face with someone and how you react that in ways you might not have ever thought you would react in that way when you're face-to-face. That just, you know, just on the phone or just texting or whatever, it's just nothing compares. So it's getting to be that time. We leave the hotel around 3:00. I'm wearing like a black sweater, some dark blue jeans, kind of loose, whatever, and my chucks. Just because it's state prison doesn't mean you can't go stylish. And the missus are wearing her dark genie, make you a wish pants, make you 3 wish pants, and I forget what she was wearing as a top. I think she was wearing like a little not a coat, but a little sweater or something as well. Pobrecito, with her considerable sized buttocks trying to find some subterfuge beneath the loose sweater she's got. So, ha. So we get in the car. She does the driving, and it's odd. It's an odd countdown watching that Waze take us there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the state, and since it's around 3 and getting to be 3:30, it's kind of when the sun's getting a little lower in the sky. So it really had this really picturesque picturesque view whatever of it all. It is landscape or whatnot, with the sun cutting into the trees that no longer have leaves, so you get that flicker, you get that sort of 24 frames a second flicker of film. It's kind of hypnotic the way those long shadows stretch across the highway. And I can't remember much of I can remember the ride. I just was there, but you do start getting a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper, and things of normal life start sort of falling away, and it's just the woods. And we turn down the road that takes us right on to the campus, to the property, and it's the employee parking lot, but we didn't know where else to park, so we just parked right in there, hoping that we'd be chill. So we get there, we park, we get out, and I'd have to check with the missus, but an older woman, maybe about 15 years older than I am, so probably a woman in her late 50s or so, lets us know that somebody there in the prison needed to go to the hospital, and we have to wait. We have to wait until they let us in, until they clear everything out and let us in. And while this is happening, all the guards from one shift are kind of spilling out, and all the newer guards coming in for the next shift are coming in. And my wife and I are talking with this woman, and she has a son that she hasn't seen in 3 years, and he has something to tell her. So we speculated a little bit and had a good talk with her. Thankfully, there's kind of like a little picnic area, a little not encased, but outdoor, but kind of like a PE shelter, but with like some stone picnic tables there for anybody who's never been there. Very odd that it's just all stone. It's like a ruin. I had a bathroom there, thank God, because I needed to use the bathroom. And another lady showed up, younger, probably younger than I am, maybe even younger than my wife. She starts strolling over to where the entrance to the prison is, to the annex portion of the prison. She's wearing like this onesie, kind of cool. We were wondering, I wonder if her curves are going to be able to get in. And the woman we were speaking with actually goes over and joins her. So they kind of talk a little bit down the sidewalk there, and my wife and I hang back and wonder if, sometimes if it's like I said, if it's a lockdown, can't even get in. If depending on who's running the joint, they could subtract the time from the time that we could be there, and we can't. We're allowed 2 hours, but if it cuts into that time, they may only let us be there for the remainder amount of time, which could be 20 minutes, and that's it. So, fortunately for us, that wasn't the case. It was really sort of the best possible scenario that we were walking into, and you know, the at this point, I was feeling a little unnerved, and I hadn't pinpointed it in my mind, but it became very clear how quiet it is there. A little chirping, maybe a bloodhound wolf, but it is quiet. I hadn't heard that kind of quiet in a while. With this, these barbed wired fences and the way the light was, the sun was sort of trying to make its way through a cloud that was just pushing it back into the sky. And with it's just, I said it was unnerving, or I said it was kind of creepy, but my wife was like, it's serene. And I, like, oh, I wonder, yeah, it's got to be good for the guys, right? Whenever they get to go outside or whatever, that they can maybe take in that quiet with how noisy it can get inside of that prison. People be acting up and shit. So, fortunately for Mike, there's not a tremendous amount of people in protective management, He's not dealing with the general public. Because he's had some problems. He's had to, truth be told, he's had to slice the shit out of his arm so he could be pulled out of general population, I say public population, to be put into isolation or whatnot, just to get out of the hell that can be. Imagine you're my friend here, Mike. You're born in Ukraine, and you spend about the first 18, 17, 16 years, something like that. I'm a little fuzzy on the dates. You gotta do Sacred Scandal if you want the true fix of things. But imagine he was pretty much, and this was something I spoke about with him. He was basically born into a prison, then is taken to a new prison, which was the private school, where he was allegedly molested by these priests and was actually, there's witnesses to corroborate how shitty Sister Michelle was to him. And not that that's a justification for anything, but things add up. And he's sitting in class, wanting to talk to like the regular people, like my wife, which he was forbade to. So he entered into another prison, basically, from one prison to another. And then he commits his crime and enters into a metaphorical prison no more, but an actual, but into Miami-Dade, actually. He was at the Dade prison for a few years, for 3 years, I think, before he was moved to Martin County, I think it was. I think I know my facts. But I just thought that was a little ironic, at least in a literary sense, that it was from one prison to another prison to another prison. Of course I did notes, sillies. Of course I did notes. So we were called over. We were going to be able to go in, and the there was a picture taken of me. They already had my wife's picture from like I don't know when or whatever. It's hysterical. To, to see my wife, this like pretty little thing that was all teeth, come into this hardcore fucking facility. So when they let me into the first part of the vestibule, I don't know why that came to mind. Yeah, it's a vestibule. Wow. I had to take off my shoes. What else did I have to do? I got checked all the which way around, went through the metal detector, got checked more, all up on me and whatnot. I was like, I'm not wearing any underwear, so if you're gonna grab pretty fucking close to there, you're getting, you're gonna be getting a little bit more than you bargained for. Having just my jeans, keeping your hand away from mine. They were gentle. They were good. Really cool people. Really cool people. I gotta shout outs to all of the people in that worked for the prison system there. It's just beautiful people. Really, really. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not just being overly effusive for the podcast. They were truly amazing. There was a part when I was leaving, and I was speaking to this one this one individual who was actually doing this on her day off. So I wonder who we would have gotten, what kind of person we would have gotten if this person wasn't there. But I think I teared up more about how this woman treated us than sort of any emotion about seeing Mike. Really, I told her, I was like, the world's better off with you in it. It's good that you're here, and but I'll tell you, when we got all checked up and everything, and then we were gonna walk down this walkway, and it's still open to the outside. It's just fenced or whatever. We get to I hear the clang of the door behind me, and man, though, that sound is real. That is the sound of your freedom being taken away. That if there's ever any sound, if there wasn't even a door that closes, but just a sound that represented your freedoms being taken away from you, it's that car. It's a jang roar. Like, that is a little disconcerting. It's like, oh shit. Okay, so if things happen, there's no way to get out. if all the guards are incapacitated and we're being taken over, there's nothing fucking. So that brought us into what looked like a cafeteria, right? With like these unfinished cartoon renderings on the walls. Like they hadn't been back to color in some of these things. It was just the outlines of certain stuff. Some of it was Disney, some of it was like Transformers and whatnot. It's pretty cool. It's definitely, it's friendly, it's inviting. It's inviting, and it's all blue. The whole place is blue. The walls are blue. It's very serene. But it's funny how sort of elementary school or preschool the aesthetic is. I saw the older woman already sitting down at her table. Imagine it's like a cafeteria, except there's one chair on one side and two chairs on the other side, and they're basically elementary school desks, like tables, like in front of you. Not that much. It's pretty small, pretty intimate, and then I saw the younger woman sitting down as well, and first her her person came out, and I saw them hug and whatnot, and immediately start getting food. They start getting food, it's like immediately, and I saw that she was, I don't know, it was like they had like toaster ovens or something over there. Like she was going pretty ham on on her meal with her man, and then I see this taller, younger gentleman walk out, and and I see the older woman get up and go give him a hug, and you don't want to be staring at these things too long. 2 seconds is too long, really, because I'll tell you, yeah, when you meet eyes with some of these guys, that's no business for your life to be pointed at. And so I was waiting for Mike, and I think my wife she had already gotten up. We had sat down for a second, and she had already gotten up, and Mike comes out from behind a door, and I've seen this guy for how many years now? 5 years now. I know his life upside down. This podcast notwithstanding. But I think I've been pretty factually compliant. And I saw my wife go hug him. And really, I think the only time I've ever seen someone come out of a door like that was literally Chris Isaac, back when I took my wife to see him and to meet him and whatnot 5 years prior. And when he came out, it's like, oh my God, like every single thing that I've ever seen you in, every single thing that I've ever heard, everything, it's just right there. It's just right there as a guy, just a person, just that's it. No, he doesn't have a fourth or fifth dimensional body or anything. It's just the dude. And, when Mike came out, I'm not going to lie, it wasn't a celebrity thing. It was just more of that. It was more of, man, here's someone that has been such a huge part of my life for so long, actually, that and here they are with the way his head's shaped, and the way his teeth are a little like kind of missing, not missing, but just a little here when he smiles. He's got a little snaggletooth kind of thing here, and his face was just so gentle, and he looked a hell of a lot like his mom, but he's got his dad's head. And maybe you can't laugh at this because of what he has done, but that's kind of the point of this whole deal that I'll probably get to. Maybe this seems to be going pretty damn long, and I have more notes left. But as soon as he came out, so my wife hugs him, and I see him. I go in. My wife warned me that he wasn't going to be a great hugger, because, I mean, think about it. When was it ever that he could hug anyone? Ever. But he did fine. And I gave him a good da-ka-da. And immediately my wife was like, Trev, get us drinks. And which is cool. I've never bought drinks from an inmate at in a commissary before. And I kind of forgot that there was going to be an inmate. So there's no telling who was serving me these Coca-Colas, but he was a cool dude, man. He was just cool. It was cool, and I got us 2 Coca-Colas and a Diet Coke, and I told the guy, I was like, grab something for yourself. And he looked at me like no one had ever bought him anything in his life. No telling what the fuck he's in for. And that's probably why. it's probably nobody gave him a gift his whole life, and probably he took his. Actually spoke to him a little bit more a little later on, and he just lit up. And I was like, whatever you want, dude. Stuff was whatever. It was inexpensive, and we weren't paying for hotel rooms. Points. So we bought some cash. You could only bring $50 each or whatever. So we had a little cash on us, and so I got us the drinks and sat down, and for the next 2 hours or so. I mean, we really first spoke about how he doesn't have that much time left. Not in the world, but in his sentence. Like I'll be celebrating, God willing, I'll be celebrating 10 years with my wife when Mike gets out. So if there's anything ethically troubling about my next statement, we'll have two things to celebrate. I had kind of made excuse me. I made a promise to myself, but I didn't really care to know anything more about what he did, because I know what he did, and I know it inside out. And as you see, it's I think it took about a minute and a couple seconds to get out those 92 stabs. A minute in a man's life, woman's life, and all the other shades of humanity. A minute can change the whole thing. And do you hold people to those minutes? So a lot of philosophical questions that come with this when you're not directly associated, when you're not directly affected by the person who's done something so heinous. It's a very odd place to be. It's almost like you're there to be there for people like Mike. To not be forsaken necessarily. Let me say that he has admitted he has what's the word? He's taken responsibility. He doesn't shy away from anything. You can ask him anything. I could have asked him, how did any of that feel? How did any of that? What did your hand get sliced up because you kept stabbing so many times? I mean, are these the questions? They may make better podcasts or so, but when you're in front of the man and all you know is how the man has how he's talked to me over the last 5 years. With no agenda. He wasn't pushing an agenda or anything like that on me. We would speak about he's a really good writer, and he's very, very intelligent, wickedly so. And people, well, I shouldn't say wickedly so. People that believe that he is extremely a manipulative person because of his intelligence. But I haven't. I can go that way. I can go the cynical way, for sure. But I mean, it still leads me down the same road to he's our friend, and we care about him. We spoke a lot about his prison life. I brought up the fact about him having to cut himself to get him out of general population or whatever situation he was in. And he showed me his arm. Then, holy shit. I mean, it looked like a filing cabinet. That's how many cuts you could... there could be 92 cuts there. I mean, literally, like, that's what his arm looks like. That's how many files it looks like have been put away. Who knows? I should ask him that. That'd be fucking poetic, right?
Um, he used to have a cell, but now he's in. I saw this recently on one of these prison shows. That it's kind of an open area and everybody just has bunks like in that open area, and there's certain offshoots where people are kind of have a little bit more privacy, but it opens up into like a bigger area. It's fucking. I mean, if I was there, I'd be fucking hating that, obviously. Um, uh, but but um, but again, because there aren't that many individuals in the PM way of things, there's not too many people that cause too much trouble or whatnot. He seems to have an okay thing going on. I think he's trying to get over to a. Well, I don't want to. Some stuff I don't want to say because it's going to be out there, and not that a tremendous amount of people are going to be hearing this or have anything to do with what this is, but I need to protect some of the things that he has told me. We're not talking a breakout, you idiots. What's cool is that he also knows a lot about what's going on in the prison system in general, which is very interesting. And talking about certain prisons all across the United States, that at this prison you could do this, or at that prison you could do that. It's really interesting. I guess from the transfer, it's people that transfer from these that then tell these people. It's like an old school way of passing stories and knowledge through these things. Pretty interesting. Um, I what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? I thought I had something after that, but I talked to Mike about his anger. I talked about his memory, just in as he haunted, his, and the anger of what he's done himself, the anger being in this place, and it's the anger from the sadness of what he's done. Believe me, he's not a cheery guy about any of this shit. He will tell you what's up, but he's definitely not cheery about it. But you can get him cheery, and that's where we like to keep Mike. And we both have been through some abuse together, and I think he has. I think so. I think so. I think he has. I think he was abused, and but that can change. It still won't change if I knew he was manipulating me or something or whatever. I don't know. I we're talking about greater issues here, right? We're talking about compassion. We're talking about understanding, even if people lie to you, if people hurt you, whatever the case. Like, these are lofty, lofty, lofty goals. And Mike is certainly a lightning rod for discussing these kinds of things. I just think this is all me. These are my own opinions and whatnot. But there's nobody that really likes to talk about being abused out loud, unless you're a psychopathic Instagrammer, and or TikTok or whatever. I don't know what the fuck. But especially for him and for his religion and where he was born and raised and whatnot. You don't talk about this stuff. And granted, his life was on the line, and his lawyer was the one to ask him first if he was abused, and but in the same fashion that he admitted to what he did, he admitted in the same sentence or admitted in the next breath that this was going on. Not only with him but with others.
And at this point, there's nothing in it for him to lie anymore or whatever. At all. It's not going to prevent him it's not going to, he's not going to get more years if he's lied, and he's not going to get less, right? He's not going to get more years if he lied about it, or less years if people proved it. But, so we're not only friends but brothers in that sense, you know. And I think during this time my wife got some sweets and some chips. So and really we were, I was breaking bread with Mike, and we laughed a lot, and didn't try to make it didn't try to turn this into something frivolous, and didn't take away from the severity of what he did or anything. You'd be surprised again how you react in front of just another human being in this circumstance. And I never thought I'd be joking around and laughing and all this business. And my I caught the eyes of the one gentleman over there, and I didn't realize that I was doing it, and I probably did about 3 times, and I went that 2 seconds, and after the 3rd time, I made sure to never let my eyes stray in that direction, because you hear from victims of people that the blackness, that the or the darkness, of the way certain people's eyes can change. I tell you, I don't know those eyes changing. I think that person might have been born with those eyes as they are, because they were nothing to look into. Yeah, that's not where you want to spend your time. And you kind of forget that you're in a state pen, and these are violent or sexually deviant people who might not be seeing their life outside of the prison again, and so they have nothing to lose. So if there was any time that I was like, oh, this is something, was when I looked into that guy's eyes and was like, oh, there's nothing standing in the way between him and me, or any of us, or this girl. Nothing. No idea. What could occur. So, that was the only time that really anything sort of was like, outside that clang. I was just looking at him, and oof. I'm going to not say anything further about the other visitors in the prison, in the room there, in the visitation room, because you can Google, there's how to, I don't, that's a oof. Okay, yes, I don't know, I have the fan on, but I am definitely sweating the shit, and there are identifiable things I could talk about, but I don't want to identifiable those guys. They can stay where they are, and none of us have to know anything more about them. Actually, I mean, if you did want to email me at Roig Rage Podcast @gmail.com. Maybe I'll give up a little. Ugh, that was just exploitative of me. I take it back. I swear to God, if you email me this. See, I've been waiting for an email for 18 episodes and not one. I have had people talk to me to my face about my podcast, and not one of them is willing to fucking email me. So if you email me about this shit, go fuck yourself. Yeah, fuck that bullshit. All right. That. Yeah, I want to talk about something else, but I don't want to. There could be a relative of yours who works at the state pen, who, if I say some stuff that's going on and it gets to them, whatever, I don't want to ruin what they got going, because if they are going to be alive, I mean, just, let them find whatever happiness possible, I suppose. I think that's where I'm getting here, slowly but surely. Yeah, I asked about, do you want this shit to be over? Do you want no more attention, no more podcasts, no more this, no more that, because there's a few things in the works right now that could really put a big and bold spotlight on him. And I don't know, if I had done what he done, I guess I would want to be like him. I would want to be able to. He just wants to. He's like, as long as it helps people. He's like, I don't. It doesn't. It's not the, on his top of his list to, hey, I want to fucking talk about this shit all the time, which is very telling as well. I don't want to get into what happened here, was this justifiable, was this that, or whatever. But it is pretty telling of his reluctance to exploit himself, really, for monetary gain. He doesn't have that in him. It's very odd. I mean, I'm talking to him like I got transferred to some other high school, man, and I go, oh, this guy looks interesting. Let me, see if he'll let me sit at his table, and he lets me sit at his table, and like, this is the conversation that we have. It's the kind of vibe that it was. It's fascinating that he's down for anything, but he doesn't offer up anything unless you want it. In the end, I went back to the commissary. I got Mike had been eating all day long because he was nervous, so he was emotionally eating. And my wife and I I don't even think we ate. I think we were emotionally not eating, and so he just wanted another Coke. So I went back and talked to my guy at the commissary, and he was reading a book. He was reading a cool book. I'm not gonna say what it is because I don't want to. What I know, I don't know. But I was like, oh shit, like no shit. He's like, you read it? I was like, nah, I don't read. I'm a scroller, and 'cause I'm sorry, we don't scroll. Scrolling isn't reading. It's just, even if they're words and your eyes are going from left to right and pulling in their meaning, it's still not reading. If it's not in a book, then it's not official. And I was like, oh, was it this? And just things being so cool and shit. And to his fucking credit, he could have been like, hey man, you got like a little something else so I can get a little something else? Nothing, dude. We just talked about a little about the book, and and said just really goodbyes, really goodbyes to each other. I was like, hopefully I won't see you again, but more towards like the next time I come here to visit Mike, it would be cool if it's another dude, because that guy had rehabilitated and is back into society. But he could be on. Who knows? The dude who took pictures. We had a guy. Excuse me. Oh, jeez, this is a pro fucking podcast. Uh, the dude, really sweet dude too, man. I mean, I guess they have to be because their guards are there. Or whatever. I don't know, but they were kind of overly friendly. So it was like, oh shit. And we took some pictures with Mike, which you'll probably never see because they were friendly pictures. They're not pictures to exploit or gain fucking whatever social media bullshit attention or whatever. Like, I won't be using pics of us to promote this thing. They're for us. So if you want to see them, you can come on over. And they're great. And what was so funny was we're sitting back down talking with Mike, and the dude comes over. He's like, "Hey, I gotta talk to you guys." And me and my wife were like, "What the fuck?" And then he puts the picture down and he points to the edge of the photo. He had cut off just a little bit of my elbow, and he was like, "Do you guys want to do it again? It's just not what." We were like, what the fuck? No way, dude. This is awesome. First of all, the pics are awesome. And second of all, the fact that he wanted to take our picture again because he cut off my elbow in the frame is just so telling of this individual. And we spoke to him for a few more minutes. He's an artist and everything. And I kept pounding keep fucking doing this shit. Because if that's your baseline, like you'll take somebody's photo again because you cut off their elbow, whatever. Like you can do better fucking anything in this state or country when it comes to anything fucking artistic. Like get the fuck out of here and do some shit. Or if you can't get the fuck out of here, just do some shit in here and get the fuck out. Do prison systems have publishing houses? I bet they do. I bet they do, because they're both criminal. So that was awesome. He was very cool energy. Bought us the last round of cokes, and we were told 8 minutes. So we kind of, okay, this and that, all right. We'll talk to you as soon as we get out of here, and we're gonna try to get to him as often as possible. When he gets out, he won't be allowed back to the U.S. So his choices are Canada or, back home or whatever. So we'll see about how that's gonna go. He and Paula hugged, and I gave Mike a really, really, really good hug, a good one. We were told to, walk one way, and they were being lined up on the other side, and I don't know, just seeing him, I kept looking back I don't know why, and I just kept giving him a thumbs up, and then a door closed between us, and he's kind of turning away, and I was just looking out to see if we could see him one more time, and he turned around, I was just giving him another thumbs up, and peace and love, and it's, it's a hell of a thing to be walking in the one direction and him walking in that other direction. And we got out of there, and what did they do? Did they check me again? They checked me. I did have to use the bathroom at one point, and dude had to come over, check me, put my arms up, check all the shit, whatever. I go into the bathroom, use the bathroom, come back out. He's got to check me again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody left something in the bathroom or something. It's a little disconcerting. Uh, but I don't think they checked us anymore. I think sort of gathered our thoughts and whatnot, and they let us out, and I'll respect the woman's privacy, but the story of her and her son are, I mean, what her son's going through is very, very interesting, and to be going through that in a prison is intense. Um, but I made a promise, yeah, not to, talk about anything about that, but keep it, Mike. But I would be remiss if I didn't do that. Um, I've been nicer to him than people who have done nothing near what he did. That's the statement, man. I've been nicer to him than people who have done nothing near what he did. I'm not saying it's the most magically constructed of sentences, but it was my note. And compassion, understanding. Um, I think for me, I've been on a wee bit of a quest these last months or so, really trying to become a person that whenever I hear something ridiculous about someone, or if somebody does something ridiculous to me or whatever, just trying to find the most understanding point of view possible, and then have compassion for the person, because clearly they are in more uh, in more pain than I am. And I've really taken on a different perspective on life. You remember those things? I don't know if when you were kids, it's like Fisher Price or something, where they had those discs and they had like little frames, little like film frames, and you could put it into this camera, and if you it'll like click into one of the frames, and it's like a 3D frame of the Serengeti, and there's the zebras and shit, and you kakang, and now you're in a monkey garden. No, but that's literally what it has felt like. My perspective of people has and now I see, and I hope it continues to always think of the pain, or think of what someone in my life has to do in order to support their reality, because if they didn't, they would crumble and wouldn't know how to deal with themselves. The walls that they put up, and what they do with their wills, and use their power to lord over people, and they do it in very mundane ways, but you see it, and a lot of time people can't say anything about it. So in that small way is what is the sort of perspective I have about Mike. He maybe it was 10 minutes when he was in Sister Michelle's room, and he did what he did, and now he's my age. And do you let somebody's worst 10 minutes, even if it involves somebody's death, do you let, if someone is contrite, if someone is willing and open to talk about, and willing to pay the price, with no like, man, they did me wrong or nothing, they did, or any is like, no, I deserve it, I deserve all of it, I deserve the whole thing. You know, he's when someone can't admit to their. I mean, I know people who can't admit to things that are clearly in front of all of our faces, and they can't admit that they're being a dick. You know, and here's someone who commits a heinous crime like this and is willing and can admit it freely and no and you know and be like, yeah, whatever you want to ask, whatever, I'll do the best I can. And there are people in our daily lives that can't do that shit about shit that's nowhere near and near as bad. And I used to condemn these people, and I used to think about them over and over and over in my mind, and I still have a ways to go on it. Because I try to figure them out. I try to figure out a way to get back at them, or get this or that or whatever. Again, I just think of the pain that they must be in, that they have to do what they have to do to other people, and how awful that is. And that's huge for me, man, because I can hold grudges and all this shit, but and do silly things and I don't know, just weird behaviors or whatnot. And I've talked about all of it. Catch an episode of a previous episode and catch the right title, and I've talked about stuff of my shit and ad nauseum. But if this experience has taught me anything, it's that, religions across the world preach forgiveness, compassion. These, what are they called? Pillars? These whatever. And when you see people who aren't directly related to a case like this tear at him, tear at the story, tear at my wife and her friend doing the podcast, ripping into them. There's nothing more forgiving and compassionate than what they are doing. And really, it's the people that have a problem with people who are showing compassion and forgiveness to someone like Mike. Fuck, I just lost my train of thought. I mean, it's those people that have that need the healing, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to give someone healing. I think if someone's not ready to accept it, there's a lot of things that go with it, man. It's interesting to know a guy who's done something so fucked up, and I can I can give him shit for liking the Celtics, like it's nothing, and shit on each other in our emails. He wrote me a beautiful email after I left, and I got it through the prison system email deal or whatever, and it was so goddamn sweet, and we're shitting on each other in the best way, and offering each other love, and hell, I need love. Even if it's someone who did what he did, I can use his love, and he can use our love. And I don't know if I should apologize. And I can't say, I don't know if I've been sensitive to anybody who has been directly, that would hear this and who's directly affected, be it a friend of Sister Michelle's or or family or whatever, and they hear me talk about love and forgiveness and compassion, and I don't know what that's like. I don't know anything about it. I only know the pain of losing someone because life took them away, not because somebody else took them away. Well, I have, and friends, if you want to, get into whatever, earthly situations, be it car crashes or shit like that, or fights and whatever. But I think there was a reason why I wasn't nervous or anxious. I think there's a reason why I feel the way that I feel towards Mike, and it's nothing to do with anything salacious or whatnot. I think visiting someone who has taken the life of someone has given me a new life, in a way, from meeting him. And what more could you want? Love, right? Thank you for listening. Roig